back with our day 2 of special series. Who is today's gentleman? And today's topic is chivalry.
Yeah, the days of ladies first may seem like a thing of the past, but is chivalry really dead?
I started riding these trains in the 40s. Those days a man would give up his seat for a woman.
Is chivalry a thing of the past? At Accademia Divino, a restaurant in New York City, you can tell chivalry may be waning.
The most important thing about chivalry is that you keep working at it, because it's really a muscle that you need to work out. It's always you serve all the women first, then all the men.
I think everyone realizes what certain things are supposed to make up a gentleman, like pulling out a chair or paying for the check. Or at least that's what I've come to understood as the perfect gentleman.
Letty Cotton Pogriven, author and one of the founding editors of Ms. Magazine, believes the classic idea of chivalry has been dead for years.
I think the feminist movement had a very healthy impact on chivalry and the gentleman. It took a lot of the pressure off men to have to behave a certain way, an Emily Post way. People could be a little bit more relaxed with each other and a little bit more natural and human.
And how do everyday men and women feel?
You should always try to be as chivalrous as possible, with the hopes that the woman is gracious enough to make you cut some of that stuff out.
There's certain things you still want to always do. You should always open the car door. You should, open all doors for them. Something like standing up when they come to and from the table. Yeah. That's one of those ones that, that one might be a little bit stale.
50 to 100 years ago, women weren't in the workplace. They were at home. Their job was tending for the family. Yeah. Now, in 2008, you have a woman who's going to sit in a meeting with you and rip you up in a boardroom, and then you walk outside with her. Are you supposed to put your coat down after she rips you up in the boardroom?
Could you please open the door for me?
Yeah, open the door for me. Yeah, seriously. You just tore me up in the boardroom.
When someone got up for me on the subway when I was pregnant, I was so grateful. Today, if someone got up for me and I'm not pregnant, I would think it was a little funny. I don't need a seat more than a man.
I think a lot of guys don't think about opening doors, and a lot of guys don't think about things that I think women appreciate so much.
If you let them know how much you appreciate the little things, it will just keep happening even more.
I still believe that the man should pay on the first date every time, and then maybe the second date you're offering to pay.
There's something here that feeds the little princess in every one of us. I don't care how much of a feminist you are. You love being treated like a lady.
I think guys get confused as to what you want. Do you want them to open the door? Do you want them to pay? And I think it's okay to say, I do.
For more on the state of chivalry, we've asked etiquette expert Harriet Cole to stop by. Harriet's also the creative director of Ebony Magazine. And also with us is Farnsworth Bentley.
We love him.
We love Farnsworth Bentley, the host of MTV's From G's to Gents. And welcome to you both.
Thank you.
So you were listening along to a lot of what was being said, and I'm not agreeing with a lot of it. What do you think of the state of chivalry in the world today?
I think that we could use a little more of it. We love a gentleman. Not somebody who's stiff and stodgy and feels like I must do this by rote, but just who's paying attention, who's aware of the moment, who wants to be gracious.
It's sexy, isn't it?
I think it's sexy. I think it's wonderful.
Farnsworth, do you think it's cool to be a gentleman these days?
And I do think that. I think that cool is the right word. I think that cool is one of those powerful things that we don't really speak about, but it really frames it, decides your lip gloss or even your shoes. And I think it's cool to have manners. I think it's cool to make sure that that's a part of your everyday.
A lot of guys don't, though, these days. That's what we've been talking about.
I think it's going to change with Barack Obama.
I
do.
agree
I think he is going to make being a gentleman and being elegant and being
and wearing a beautiful
suave.
suit.
Yeah, he's going to make. I think kids are going to start pulling up their pants and quit showing their underwear. I hope.
And he is the ultimate inspiration for that, and he has a lot to do with why my show's been successful. The show From G's to Gents. What I found this season, we're taping right now, is men really want to learn.
What's a G? Forgive me. Is that like a gangster thing?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I don't like that. I never did like the gangster thing.
It's not cool.
No, maybe it's just me.
See, here's an interesting thing. A lot of women say that they want a bad boy. That they're really attracted to a guy who's a little bit bad. That I think is swagger. You want swagger, but you want someone who has great manners, who wants to treat you well, and who understands how to treat you well.
I think some guys are afraid to be polite sometimes because there are women who say to them, look, I can do it myself, I don't need your help. And I can imagine where a guy would get gun shy after a while.
It's how you do it. I think that's really, if you approach a woman and you're approaching her to say, you know, I really care about you and I'd love to do this for you.
But I'm talking about strangers. I'm talking about the kind of interaction you have.
Like on the subway or something?
Or just on an airplane, you know, that kind of thing.
And I think that manners is confidence plus, no, swagger is manners plus confidence plus style. It doesn't matter how stylish you are. If you're rude, no one wants to be around you.
See, I used to think of swagger as a negative thing until I saw your description of it.
Yeah.
To me, swagger is, hey, baby. You know,
that's why
that's your biggest
define
redefinition, right?
Yeah, that's why I really wanted to define it in my book.
So you're redefining it.
Yes. Were your parents really polite? Because you obviously turned out very, very well. And is that kind of the issue? The real, you know,
where are people learning it, right?
I think it has skipped over a generation, and I think that when young men and folks come to me like, how did you get to the next level? I always say, well, you know, it really was attributed to those three factors: manners plus confidence plus style. That's how I got here.
And I would say the way you grow up, you know, I grew up in a household where we ate and the table was dressed every day. When there were special occasions, my father always had on a suit, and we were always dressed up, and we were taught that that was the rule. Boys couldn't come to Thanksgiving dinner unless they had on a jacket.
Wow.
And a tie. So that was the rule. So for kids today who aren't learning it, they need others to teach them so that they understand this is what a dressed up moment looks like. This is how you treat someone in a particular situation.
You know, every single night whether we're having macaroni and cheese or not, Frank goes and lights candles.
Does he really?
Oh. Yeah.
I've been there every
Sometimes
time.
I'm so hungry it's like leave it, I'm starved. But no, he goes and lights a candle.
We're talking about basic manners sometimes. Just please and thank you, and that's
what's
a big
missing
deal.
most of all across the board.
Two really small words but powerful words: please and thank you.
And you have to teach them from the beginning. My daughter is about to be 5. In her school, she came home one day and said, Mommy, a gentleman at my school was so nice to me today. And I'm thinking, who was this at her school? And it was one of her classmates, which that's where it starts.
Awesome.
It has to start at the beginning and get reinforced from a young age all the way up.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you. Excellent.
We're going to continue this series on what today's parents should know if you want to raise your son to be a gentleman. I think we need to talk about ladies next week.
I think that might be a good idea.
Be good.
Still to come, actress Jacqueline Bisset brings new life to Louisa May Alcott. But first, these messages.